Hi knitters, this is Mimi with Pastiche Knitwear, and today I'm doing a companion video for you that goes along with my felted slipper pattern. I want to show you how to pick up stitches, cast on the Chinese waitress stitches, and then how to redistribute your stitches for this pattern. So to begin, let's start with the pickups, and I want to show you how I typically will pick up stitches. I like to take a full stitch. In other words, I want both legs of the stitch. I don't want to just grab one leg. That seems to me to be fairly unstable, so I like to catch two. And so that means I'm going to be working in the ditch right along here. And so to begin, I'm just going to put my needle in here. I've got my new color yarn that I'm going to be adding. I leave a tail of about 6 inches, make a loop and drop it over that right hand needle, and just pull it through to make my first stitch. Now on this pattern, I'm finding that I'm going in about every other stitch here. You can see the openings here. I'm going to skip this one and come into the next one. Oops, didn't get both strands there. Skip this opening and come into the next one. And I'm going to do that all the way up to the top. My pattern size calls for 9 stitches to be picked up. And so I'm going to do that all the way up to the top. Make sure that your last stitch that you pick up right underneath that cast on edge, so it has a really nice clean join at the top of the slipper. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, that's perfect. And now we're going to turn this around and do our Chinese waitress cast on for the instep stitches. Now to begin, I'm going to borrow the last cast on stitch and slide that onto my hook knitwise, and then I just want to get this out of my way. Then I'm going to cast on 12 stitches with the Chinese waitress cast on. Now I often do an assist on this first one just because it can be a little bit small. So I'm casting on 12 stitches. You would cast on whatever the pattern calls for your given size. And I am also not going to go into a lot of detail about how to work the Chinese waitress cast on. I have another video tutorial that covers that in detail that you can go over and look at on my channel on YouTube. And I will stop and give a little plug right here and say, if you enjoy my videos, please subscribe to my channel. I'd appreciate it so much. So I'm doing quite a bit of talking and not enough counting here. So I'm going to do one more, and then I'm going to stop and count and see what I've got here. So let's count again. Started with 9, 2, 4, 6, 8, and the 9th stitch is here. And I wanted to point out that because we borrowed that first stitch, it always wants to group with the new stitches that you're casting on, but it actually should be included in the count of the side stitches here. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, and I have 12 up on the hook. And so I'm going to bring the yarn forward and just chain through the last stitch on the hook. Yeah, it would be helpful to grab both strands when I did it. And yeah, that just wants to fight me a little bit for whatever reason. This is real life, knitters. Okay, and then come in the front. Okay, great. So that is our 12 stitches, and I should have a total of 21. So I'm going to count 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 21. Always double check your count because it is so much easier to fix it now than to get later on and have to fool with it. So now we're going to pull this needle out because we're going to work now down the other side, picking up 9 stitches. I'm going to find that same corresponding spot, so I'm going to be working in the ditch right here. I'm going to come in at the very top right here, but I want to dip the tip of my needle behind that strand so that I don't wrap it around my needle inadvertently. I'm joining in the round right now when I pick up this first stitch. Now we're joined in the round, and I am going to pick up 9 stitches all the way down this side. And then we are almost through with the fiddliest part, really, of these slippers. I think this is the trickiest bit of the whole thing. So let's double check. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. And now we're going to knit across, your pattern tells you to knit across the heel stitches. And we will do it. And then we're going to redistribute. And this I had several wonderful, wonderful pattern testers. And this proved to be probably the most difficult part of this. So that's part of why I wanted to do this tutorial for you, so that you could just breeze through this part. Now, for heel stitches on my size, I've got 8. So the pattern is going to instruct you to count up 8 stitches from the center of the heel. So what that means is that would be 4 stitches in, right? That's the center of my heel. And I'm going to count up on either side 8 stitches from the center of the heel. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to pull my needle so that I can access the cable and pull it up. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm going to count 4 more stitches and pull the cable out at that point. Now, why are we doing this? Okay, we're doing this because we will not have to redistribute our stitches again through the whole project. We're separating so that we can work the heel stitches, which are on the first side of the cable, and the instep stitches, which are on the second half of the cable. You are now set up. We have a few gusset decreases that we're going to do in a little bit, and then you'll have equal numbers. Right now, you don't have equal numbers. You're going to have fewer stitches on the heel side and more stitches on the instep side, because you're going to do some decreases, and then you'll be down to having equal number of stitches. Then you can just knit all the way to the end, do your toe decreases and your Kitchener, and you will never have to redistribute the stitches. Everything will be just copacetic. So what your pattern is going to tell you now is to knit to the end of the first side of the cable. And you look at this and you go, wait, I got all these stitches on the right hand side and just a few on the left hand side. But that's exactly what you're supposed to have. There's no problem with it. So just go ahead and follow those instructions and knit to the end of the first side of the cable. And then you'll be ready to work the second side of the cable, which will be, you'll have a knit and purl certain stitches and then knit some stitches. So I hope this is helpful to you. I hope it gets you over the hump, and I hope you enjoy making these slippers. Thanks so much.